Max was ordinary, loved video games, ate too much pizza. He dreamt of driving, freedom, open roads. His driver's test loomed. Then, a chance encounter. Craigslist, a car. Too good to be true. The car was beautiful, sleek, black, powerful. A 1967 Mustang. The price was unbelievably low. Max was suspicious, but the owner seemed normal. He dismissed his doubts. This was his dream car. Max brought the car home. He spent hours just staring at it. One night, the headlights flickered. The engine purred, all by itself. Max brushed it off. Old car quirks, he thought. He was wrong. Driving one day, the radio switched on. Static. Then, a haunting melody. The same tune, over and over. Max tried changing the station. It wouldn't budge. He felt a chill. Something was wrong. Section 5. A ghastly smell. The car reeked. A sickly sweet odor, like rotting flowers. It was a smell that clung to the air, thick and oppressive, making it hard to breathe. The scent was so strong that it seemed to have a physical presence, almost as if it were a living entity lurking within the confines of the vehicle. Max cleaned the car thoroughly. He scrubbed every surface, vacuumed every crevice, and even used air fresheners. But the smell remained. It was as if the odor had seeped into the very fabric of the car, becoming a part of its essence. No matter how hard he tried, the sickly sweet stench persisted, mocking his efforts. It seemed to be coming from the vents. Max leaned in closer, his nose almost touching the slats of the air vents. The smell was stronger here, more concentrated. It was as if the vents were exhaling the foul odor with every breath of air they pushed out. He wondered what could be causing such a persistent and ghastly smell. He rolled down the windows. It didn't help. The smell was suffocating. The fresh air from outside did little to dilute the overpowering stench. Max felt a sense of panic rising within him. The car, once a place of comfort and convenience, had turned into a claustrophobic nightmare. The smell was inescapable, wrapping around him like an invisible shroud. He knew he had to find the source of the odor, but the thought of what he might discover filled him with dread. Section 6. Max's fear. Max tried to ignore the strange events that had been happening around him. It started with small things like the feeling of being watched or the sudden chill in the air. He brushed them off as coincidences, but they kept piling up. He told himself it was all in his head, a figment of his imagination. He tried to rationalize the unease that settled in his chest, convincing himself that there was a logical explanation for everything. But the more he tried to ignore it, the more persistent the feeling became. But deep down, fear gnawed at him. The car was changing, becoming sinister. It was no longer just a vehicle. It felt like a living entity watching him, waiting for the right moment. The headlights seemed to follow him, the engine growled menacingly, and the shadows around it seemed to move with a life of their own. He couldn't shake the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Every time he walked past the car, a shiver ran down his spine. He started avoiding it, taking longer routes just to stay away. But the car seemed to be everywhere, lurking in the corners of his vision, a constant reminder of his growing paranoia. Max's nights were filled with restless sleep, haunted by nightmares of the car coming to life, chasing him down dark, deserted streets. He would wake up in a cold sweat, heart pounding, the image of the car's headlights burning into his mind. He knew he couldn't go on like this, but he didn't know what to do. He confided in a close friend, hoping for some reassurance. But as he described the events, he could see the doubt in his friend's eyes. They tried to comfort him, suggesting he was just stressed and needed a break. But Max knew it was more than that. The fear was real, and it was growing stronger every day. Desperate for answers, Max turned to research. He spent countless hours reading about haunted cars and supernatural phenomena, hoping to find something that would explain what he was experiencing. The stories he found were chilling, but none seemed to match his situation exactly. Still, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was on the brink of discovering something important. One night, driven by a mix of fear and determination, Max decided to confront the car. Armed with a flashlight and a newfound resolve, he approached the vehicle. The air was thick with tension, and every step felt like a battle against his own terror. As he reached the car, he took a deep breath and shone the light into the shadows. To his surprise, there was nothing there. The car was just a car, and the shadows were just shadows, but the fear didn't dissipate. It lingered, a constant reminder of the unknown. Max realized that the true battle was within himself, and that overcoming his fear would be the hardest challenge of all. Section 7. Trapped. One night, Max went for a drive. He wanted to clear his head. He turned the key. Nothing. He tried again. Still nothing. Suddenly, the doors locked. The windows rolled up. Max was trapped. Whispers filled the car. Softly at first, then louder, threatening. They seemed to be coming from everywhere. The radio, the vents, the back seat. Max covered his ears. He wanted to scream, but no sound came out. The car roared to life. The engine screamed. The car lurched forward. Max had no control. The car sped down the road, swerving, headlights like the eyes of a predator. Then darkness, a deafening crash. The police arrived at the scene. The car was mangled, but there was no sign of Max. The only clue, small, bloody handprints on the shattered windshield. They were on the outside. The car was impounded. The police investigation went nowhere. The case went cold. Some say the car is still out there, waiting, watching. And the whispers on the wind? They sound a lot like Max, begging for help. Max was a regular guy, living a regular life. He had a job, friends, and a family who loved him. But one day, he vanished without a trace. His car was found abandoned in a dark, desolate lot, shrouded in an eerie fog. The vehicle, once a symbol of his daily routine, now stood as a haunting reminder of his sudden disappearance. The police were called, and the car was impounded, but the investigation led nowhere. Despite their best efforts, the authorities couldn't find any clues. No fingerprints, no signs of struggle, nothing. It was as if Max had simply evaporated into thin air. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. The case went cold, and Max's name slowly faded from the headlines. Yet, the mystery of his disappearance lingered in the minds of those who knew him. Some say the car is still out there, waiting in the shadows, watching silently. It's become a local legend, a ghost story whispered among the townsfolk. They say if you listen closely, you can hear the whispers on the wind, and they sound a lot like Max, begging for help. People have reported strange occurrences near the lot where the car was found. Unexplained lights, eerie sounds, and a feeling of being watched. Some believe that Max's spirit is trapped, unable to move on until the truth of his disappearance is uncovered. Others think it's just a tale spun from grief and loss, a way for the community to cope with the unexplainable. But for those who knew Max, the pain is real. His family still holds out hope, clinging to the belief that one day they will find answers. Friends gather every year on the anniversary of his disappearance, sharing stories and memories, keeping his spirit alive in their hearts. The car, now a rusting relic, stands as a silent witness to a mystery that remains unsolved. And as the wind whispers through the trees, the question lingers: where is Max?